Welcome! In this tutorial we will have a detailed look in the new assembly jig for the Cremina SL piston. In the second part of the video we'll also do a detailed service on the Grouphead of this Cremina SL. The assembly jig is made out of three components. These are the following: a funnel to guide the piston gaskets into the assembly jig itself, the body of the assembly jig to hold the piston while pre-tensioning the spring, and last but not least, the screw with the star-shaped handle to tension the spring. We will now move on to the service of the Grouphead. The following tools are needed for the service: a 4 and a 5 mm Allen key. The 5 mm is orange and is used the most here. 14 and a 17 mm wrench. Then also for the small C-clips Circlip pliers, size 0. Then we also need a flathead screwdriver, probably size 2, but it doesn't matter, it's just to pull the gaskets out, and a small rubber hammer. The gaskets that we need are included in the gasket set 230-406, and this also contains the three piston gaskets, the V-Gaskets, the Grouphead gasket and the isolation gasket between the boiler and the Grouphead. The grease that we use to grease the gaskets, as shown in the video, is Molykote 111, or could also called, depending on the country, Dow 111. To secure the screws, we also use Loctite 542. We start the service by removing the lever and the portafilter of the Grouphead. After that, we unscrew the Grouphead with the 4 screws that are found on the front. First, we need to loosen it with the short end of the Allen key. After that, if you have an Allen key with a ball head, you can unscrew it this way. Please note that the Grouphead is prone to scratches and can not be refinished. When loosening the last screw, please take care that the Grouphead doesn't drop down, and hold it while you remove it. With the Grouphead removed, we start by loosening the first pin that holds the piston rod. And please be patient with the Circlips, as you can overstretch them. And if they are overstretched, they don't fit inside the right way. Remove both pins at first. And can push them out to the side. On the front and on the back there are some spacers. Please be careful that you don't lose them, and put them to the side. With the fork and all the spaces removed, we can now start to remove the piston itself. And this is best done by blocking the piston rod from rotating with the Allen key, and then loosening first the top nut with the 14 mm wrench, and after that the lower nut with the 17 mm. As soon as the 17 mm nut is loosened, we can remove the Allen key from the hole and start loosening the top. Now we loosen this nut until the piston drops out. Please be aware that the rod stands on the tension and can pop off. On the inside you see here the small ring that is there to center the spring. Please be aware of that and try pulling it out. It can be quite hard to remove because it sticks to the top. With that removed, we now remove the spring and inspect it for damage. If it looks rusty or is deformed in any way, please replace it because it's very important for extraction. We also remove the shower screen from the bottom and from the shower screen the Grouphead gasket. The Grouphead gasket and the shower screen can be reused again, but in this case we will replace the whole thing, just to show you how it's done. We first clean the shower screen until all holes and all residue is removed. This can be, in the case here, done with a dry towel, or if you have more dirty looking shower screen, you can soak it in coffee or some coffee cleaner. We inspect the back gasket for damage. This one looks quite good. It has no big holes in it or scratches and is not deformed as much. We also cleaned the piston from the old grease, and here you can see this piston is in a very good shape. Nonetheless, we will remove the V-Gaskets and replace them with new ones. If you try to keep them, please let them in. Now with the size 2 flathead screwdriver, we will pry off the gaskets. Best practice is pushing it in on the closed side of the gasket and stretching the gasket from underneath and pulling it up. In this case, we didn't need to remove the piston from the piston rod. But if you need to do this, you can use the 4mm hex key to loosen the screw in the center. And when remounting it, please be aware that you need Loctite to secure the screw in place, or it will start leaking and the spring will get rusty. This was everything what's concerned about disassembling the group. You have now all parts away from the group head, can clean it thoroughly, especially the group head body, and degrease it. And after you've done that, we start by assembling it again. First, we have now the V-gasket for the group head, and we start by greasing them with a fingertip full of Molykote 111. This will be done with all 3 gaskets before we stretch them over the assembly jig for the group head. Here we use the cone that we also have for the Cremina, and it fits quite well over the piston of the Cremina SL. The gaskets are in fact the same. Please be aware of the orientation. We start from the top to the bottom. On the top, the open side is down. The second gasket has its open side towards upwards. This one is a little bit harder to pull over the complete piston. You can take the flathead screwdriver, as long as it's not sharp, to help align the gasket with the according slot on the piston. If the gasket is not seated well, you can just push on it. It should glide into the right position. The last gasket is the one on the bottom. This also has the opening, in this perspective, up, so to the bottom of the group head. I will show you also a diagram here. Here we push it also in to position it well. We now take a little bit of Dow 111 or Molykote 111 and apply it to the outside of the group head. Please also grease the front surface of the piston. We now put on the spring and also the washer that centers the spring on the piston rod. We have a look inside of the group head to see if there are any scratches or residue buildup from calcification or minerals in the water. And after that, we will grease it with Molykote 111. You can be quite generous of the amount, just the walls have to be covered. Now it's time for our assembly jig. We remove the funnel first and also the screw and prepare it to receive the piston. I recommend removing the screw fully, else it doesn't stay flat on the table. Also grease the inside of the assembly jig so the V-Gaskets glide on it. The same goes for the funnel, as the gaskets have to glide over this to go inside the assembly jig. And especially for this jig, apply a good amount of Dow 111 to the screw middle and also to the thread, so it glides better on the piston and in the threads. We now put the funnel on top of the assembly jig and slide the piston inside it. The funnel will push the V-gaskets towards the group head and will ensure that they don't get pulled over in the wrong direction while assembling it on the group head. With the piston inside, we can remove the funnel and place the whole jig inside the group. Please be aware that the spring and the washer can fall out. We lock it in place like a portafilter, and now it's secure. And we can start tensioning the spring with the screw. We can see here now how the piston rod starts to move upwards. I jumped ahead, and now we are at the top position, and we will secure it with the 70mm nut that goes on top and also is the end stop for the piston travel. We tighten it quite thoroughly, and also we turn the complete piston rod so it aligns the hole with the slit. After that, we remove the assembly jig just by loosening the screw a little bit and then tighten it. For aligning the hole with the slit, we use the lever pin, and the round washers that are in between it. We then turn the piston rod a little bit until it fits inside. Then we check the other side, also with the washer that's there, and adjust it from side to side until both sides move freely. This is a very important step, as this ensures that the fork runs smoothly and can allow the full travel. Else it will hit the top of the group head as it slides down. Sometimes it needs a very fine adjustment, as you see here, but now it's running smoothly, and remove the pin. After that, we start reassembling the fork by applying a little bit of Molykote to the roller that's inside the group, and with some Dow 111 we stick it to it. This helps a lot with alignment, as the roller cannot move around because of the grease. And also the washers can be stick to the side. Else it's quite difficult to align all 4 parts, so the fork, the 2 washers and the roller to the group head. We now put the fork on top of the group head. Please be aware that the washers don't fall out. Then we push the pin in, and it's quite difficult to get everything aligned. I would first see if you can get one aligned, and then tilt the group head so gravity can help you a little bit with alignment. And you can also take a screwdriver, or the Circlip pliers have also a small point at the front to align the washer. Here I use the number 2 flathead screwdriver. After that, you can easily push it through and secure it in place with the C-clip. We now do the same for the back hole, and also secure the washers in place with a little bit of Molykote 111, especially the back one. If it's a little bit strong to push in, you can easily use the rubber hammer. We also use it to remove the pins. After both are in place, we will apply the Circlips again to the group head. Here is also important, like with this assembly, to not overstretch the Circlips. Also, what helps mounting them is to push from the back side towards the part that you will apply or disengage the Circlips, as you get more play between the surface and the Circlip. Last but not least, we put on the top nut. Now secure it in place by holding the lower nut and then tightening the top nut against it. Please don't turn just on the top nut, as it could deform the pin. Now we apply also Molykote 111 onto the Grouphead gasket and we push it over the shower screen. Please be aware that the chamfer on the gasket has to be on the top side. After that, we use the assembly jig for the Cremina Grouphead to put the whole assembly on top. This is also possible just with a simple ring on the same size. It just have to push the gasket upwards together with the shower screen. Then we place the Grouphead on top and push it down. This needs a little bit of force. Please try to be as straight down as possible. And at the end, the gasket should be seated quite well. Don't worry if some flakes of the gaskets are shaved off by the sharp edges. This should not influence the water tightness of the gasket. We now remove the isolation gaskets between the boiler and the Grouphead, but please note this part is completely optional. For the screws, we here also use Loctite 542 just to secure the screws. We are aware that this Loctite is not for screw securing, but more for water tightening of fittings. But it is hard enough for our application, and it is not too hard to remove afterwards. We'll first seat all 4 screws, and after that we will tighten it with the short end in a cross pattern. This is the full service of the Grouphead done. Please note that after you done the Grouphead service, test the machine fully, heat it up, and after heating the machine up and cooling it down again, retighten the 4 screws for the Grouphead, as the isolation gaskets will deform. If you have further questions, you can ask them below in the comments or write us an email. Thank you.